Okay, so I wanted to take the time to really just document my journey. One, because I think it'll be helpful in keeping me accountable. And two, because I know that when I started to do research into using this medication, it was helpful to me to find these sort of anecdotal videos, other people that have experienced it, because everybody's experience is different. Um, I will say, I honestly didn't find a ton of people that had been like completely documenting their journeys. So it was mostly like, this is my before and after, like quick little snippets. So hopefully this is helpful to someone. So I do have another video that talks about kind of my background, why I started the medication, what my, experience was like with weight loss or just weight management throughout my life. If you want to go into detail, there's that other video that may be beneficial to you as well. But just to kind of give an overview, um, I have always been active since I was a kid. I was active. I found myself putting on weight when went through puberty. So obviously there was a hormonal change associated with that. I was able to lose it, but then gained weight each time I had children. Again, obviously you have children, you're going to gain a little bit of weight there, right? But also the hormonal change. With my first child, I gained 51 pounds, lost it, and then some. And then with my second child, I gained 100 pounds with one pregnancy. So managing my weight has been a lifelong struggle. I do also want to say I was very skeptical about this medication. Not because I was concerned with the efficacy, more so because I, like a lot of other people, felt like it was kind of cheating. I had done exercise programs and worked out in the past, and I, did it the hard way and lost weight, putting in hard work and effort, and those people taking those shots, it was cheating, is how I saw it. I did eventually hit a breaking point, and I was just like, this isn't working. It's not working. I don't care if someone thinks I'm cheating or whatever. This is for me. So I went ahead and I did a lot of research. Like I said, watching videos and things like this, but also looking up just information, publications by like Cleveland Clinic and things like that. So I did a lot of research to figure out whether I thought this was going to benefit me, and really understand how I could make the most of my time while on this medication. And so I did finally get approved for it recently. And I'm going to talk about kind of what my experience has been like on it. So for me, I started, it's been almost 4 weeks now. So I've taken four shots. I've taken 4 shots. Haven't taken my fifth yet, so it hasn't been a full fourth week, right? And want to talk a little bit about what I've experienced in the past 3.5 weeks, and what I've learned. So obviously the starting dose of Zepbound is 2.5 milligrams. It is, according to the Zepbound website, it is meant to be kind of like a starter dose. The expectation is that your body is getting used to the medication. So a lot of the things that people talk about as being like, this is why I took it, the food noise and all of that, this is not supposed to be the time where you're dropping a ton of weight. Full disclosure, I don't want to quickly drop a ton of weight. I already struggle with GI issues. I have done the yo-yo diet thing and want to learn how to create a healthy, sustainable lifestyle so that when I do come off the medication, because I don't intend to be on this for the rest of my life, I don't just gain all of the weight right back. So 2.5 is intended to be kind of like a starter dose. Some people don't lose any weight on 2.5. Some people are what they call super responders and just drop a bunch of weight, 15 pounds in a month, which is a lot. So for people who are like, oh, I only lost 17 pounds this month, that's a lot of weight in 1 month. So I am somewhere in the middle. So I really don't like weighing myself, but it's something that, with your doctor is going to ask you to weigh in. And for me, I'm actually doing this through Row. So when I go to do my request for the new prescription, it asks what your weight is to see if you're tracking for what your goals are. So I did have to weigh in. I've been weighing in once a week just to kind of keep track of my progress for that. And honestly, it's kind of helpful, but anyway, so far I have lost 9 pounds in 3.5 weeks. Well, as of the last time I weighed in, so 3 weeks. So, I think that again, for this being the starter dose, it is, I guess, working. But I want to talk about some of my symptoms, and I want to talk about some of the experiences that I've had. So I mentioned I have struggled with GI issues like many women have. It was a big concern of mine when taking the medication. It was also something that I had previously talked to my primary care provider about because I have dealt with gallstones. I've had issues with heartburn. I've had chronic constipation. Sorry for, being giving you everything, but I think that it's helpful to give you everything. And so a lot of these things were issues that people on Zepbound had mentioned they struggled with. Because of the medication, nausea is a side effect, vomiting, headaches, diarrhea, constipation, all of these things, people have said they experienced as side effects. For me, when I took my first shot, I felt very tired the next day, maybe even the next 2 days. And then every shot after that, I have not experienced that. It was only the first one. So I don't know when I bump up to the next one, which is going to be 5 milligrams, maybe I'll experience that again, the first shot, just because it's now a higher dosage. But for me, it was just that very first shot. I felt tired, and then it went away. I did experience some constipation. I am taking already a prebiotic. Oh, hold on. I'm going to show you what it is. So I have been taking this Vital Nutrients. It's a prebiotic plus probiotic, 60 billion CFU. So it has been working for me. Like prior to taking Zepbound, it worked to keep me regular. It was really the only thing I found that worked. Once I started taking the medication, I did deal with constipation, and I looked into like some of the support groups and things like that online, and a lot of people were saying to take magnesium. So come to find out, the same company makes this triple magnesium complex. It has been working. I will say I feel like I am not regular. So I did not get back to the point of being regular, but I will say the constipation, it'll be maybe a couple of days, and then I'm regular for a couple of days, and then I feel a little, and so I guess everything kind of evens out in the end. I've heard that people have had to go to the emergency room because they've been so impacted. Like I haven't had anything that dramatic. And I do feel like this has been helping with that. Another thing I will say, which probably helps quite a bit with that, but it's not something that I ever struggled with before. So it's been very easy for me. make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. So I typically drink between 80 and 120 ounces of water each day. And like 80 ounces is a low day. Like I just couldn't get somewhere to refill my water bottle kind of thing. So typically, you want to make sure that you are drinking a lot of water. It's going to help keep everything moving. You obviously want to make sure that you're being as active as possible. It's going to keep everything moving. But yeah, those are really the only side effects that I have experienced, knock on wood. But hopefully, that continues to be the case. Again, I'm still on the lowest dose. Something else that I think is important to point out is the need for strength training. So again, prior to taking Zepbound, I was a gym girly. I do not have a gym membership anymore. However, I have a pretty robust gym setup in my garage. So I've got a rower in there. I've got resistance bands. I've got slam balls. I've got, weights. I've got a bench. I've got medicine balls. I've got plenty of things in my own personal gym in my house. So I definitely make sure to strength train. That's something that I've always done. And I think it's important to point out because a lot of times people talk about your muscles deteriorating when taking this medication. Again, I'm only 3.5 weeks in, so I don't know for sure, but I feel like, all right, this is something that I have made it a point to keep doing so that I don't have that deterioration. So just something else that I thought was important to point out. And that's been working. So, like I said, I've been on 2.5 for 3.5 weeks now. And I have been successful with it. So again, hopefully the success continues, but for right now, that's what's working for me. And so what I have learned is that I need to prioritize protein. So this is something like knowing the benefits of protein, knowing that filling up on protein is going to keep you satisfied for a longer period of time. It's also going to obviously make it so that you don't want to snack because you are not hungry or craving the snacks. I understand how your body metabolizes carbs and versus proteins, and like all of these things are things that I know. However, I had never put a focus on prioritizing protein. That is one thing that I have made sure to do here. Protein specifically, then fiber, and like fruit. I will say this. Yes, I am focusing on those particular areas, but I am not sticking to a diet. I'm not doing meal prep. I'm not counting calories. So one of the things that was really important to me when I was doing research is like, what are people eating? How are people living? What are they changing in their diets, right? So again, if you want more detail about kind of my lifestyle pre-Zepbound, I do have another video on that. But what I want to say is I have typically been the type of person that I don't have food noise, as people say. Like I'm not waking up thinking about food. I don't have a lot of that. I don't do a ton of snacking. One of the biggest challenges that I have faced, kind of why did I get here, right, is I do live a pretty sedentary lifestyle. I exercise and have exercised 5 to 6 days a week for as long as I can remember. However, outside of that hour a day that I'm exercising, I spend majority of my time sitting. I work, 40 hours a week, and my job is a behind the desk, behind the computer job. So I spend a lot of time sitting. And that was an issue for me. Also, I don't eat, I'm not a snacker. I'm not an overeater, an overindulgent person. However, I have noticed as I have gotten older that foods that I used to eat as a kid or used to eat as a young adult, my body, I don't know. I'm not able to maintain the same, weight, the same whatever as I was before. And so the biggest thing for me was I want to learn how to eat properly for my age and my lifestyle so that I'm not gaining weight once I come off of this, right? So that I can maintain, but also I don't want to be on a diet forever. I have done programs in the past that have worked, but they have been incredibly restrictive, and I don't want to live like that. I want to be able to say, hey, my family is going out and I'm going to eat what I choose to eat what I want to eat, as opposed to, all right, I'm gonna do the deconstructed hamburger with the side of, let me count how many calories are in each pickle, and it sounds like dramatic, but I swear to you, I'm a part of a lot of different, health and wellness groups, and I've seen people do it. So my biggest thing was on this medication, I want to figure out what works for me, and I don't want to have to live like that. So I think that's everything that I have learned, all of my experiences thus far. What I will say also, so the next dose up would be 5 milligrams. And like I said, I just took my 4th shot. So what would happen is I would move up to the 5 milligrams. Because I reported in my app that I was dealing with the constipation and everything when it was happening, I did not, my insurance company approved me to stay on 2.5 for another 4 weeks. I'm actually really happy about that because I feel like, again, I don't want to drop weight too quickly. 2.5 thus far has been working for me. And I really would like a little bit more time to see if I can try and get these GI issues kind of, under control a little bit better. And so I plan to stay on the 2.5 for another 4 weeks. As far as like updates in these videos, I think that I'll update if something like crazy happens. But I don't think it's going to be a weekly thing. I'll probably update again at the end of these next 4 weeks. So yeah, that's how it's going so far. Again, still in the early stages of this, but if there is anyone out there that is looking to start, I just say my recommendations would be, 1, do your research before you start. I think that's with anything. I'm super anti-medicine. So for me to even be on this is huge. Do your research, look into other people's experiences, look into publications by, doctors or whomever, like use all avenues, use all resources available to you to get as much information as possible. So that when you make your decision, it's as informed as possible. As far as, people's opinions, because I know, again, being a person that had my own opinions about it prior to starting the medication, I know a lot of people have opinions about it. As far as that's concerned, like, if it benefits you, like, that should be the only thing that matters. So I would say just ignore those opinions. And if you feel, I know a lot of people are like, I'm not telling anyone that I'm on the medication. If you don't feel comfortable telling people, then don't freaking tell people. That's fine. But honestly, I mean, I don't think, at the end of the day, I think you have to do what works for you. So people can take their opinions and shove them. But anyway, so I will check back in, like I said, in probably about a month, unless something crazy, drastic, dramatic happens before then. So, bye.